Good day. My name is Kelli Prather, and I'm the host of Catching Up with Kelli. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Once again, I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Miss LaMonica Duckworth.
Hi, how are you, Kelly? Thanks for the introduction.
Whew, I'm good. But as always, I'm super busy. But I think that our schedules are probably comparable. You're just as busy as I am, so.
Yes. But no, not as busy as you are. You have you have a lot under your belt.
I do.
I get at least 10-15 minutes of sleep. More than you, I should say.
You know what? I found that I've gotten at least 5.5 to 6 hours of sleep every night, so that's much better.
Yay!
So
Good. You look so rejuvenated too.
I feel rejuvenated. First, I want to thank you for inviting me to Macaulay yesterday to the ceremony. So now, was that, I called it a pinning ceremony for the juniors. What was the actual?
It's the junior initiation ceremony because they didn't get pinned.
Okay.
And so it's a tradition that they do at Macaulay every year. When you make it to being a junior, it lets you know that you order your class ring and you get your class sweater. And as you see, the priest blessed it, and then they walk up and they get it, and that just determines like, oh, you're making it. You're going to be a senior. You're about. Your adulthood is going to be starting soon. This is something that we want to bless these things, your class ring and your sweater, to let you know that once we bless this, you're going to be blessed and everything is going to be okay. So yeah, it was called the junior initiation ceremony for them.
I kept calling it the junior pinning ceremony, but I guess it would be pinned as seniors. But their sweaters were so adorable. Their rings, they were so cute.
Yeah, and they had their names on their sweater. It was beautiful.
Yes, it was.
And all the girls was lovely. But thank you for coming because you made my daughter's day. You made a lot of people's day. I mean, how was that for you? When a lot of people who was just like, who's that? What? Oh my gosh! And they're just talking and taking pictures.
It was amazing. And you know what? You never know. Like once you step out into the public side, you never know the reaction you're going to get. And so being that was a predominantly white school, and how well received I was, and the fact that they were just appreciative that someone who is running to be a public official was there, it was just so exciting. What I was excited about is I just blended in, as I always do, blended in with the crowd, sitting in the back. You and I were back, going live, taking pictures on Facebook. Facebook. So it was nice. It was a really nice experience. So thanks again for inviting me, and tell Arian she is my heart. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to she and some of her classmates coming on to the show.
Yeah, okay, we're going to get that done as soon as possible, and she's going to be really happy because she just wants to sit and talk. And all the girls too, I guess they were on Snapchat or something, and they were just talking about, oh my goodness, are we really going to be on the show with her? It's going to be so fun to just talk about it. She wants to talk about us and our initiation, and she was like, yeah, and how it is at Macaulay, and they were like, girl, we're not into politics like you, and she's like, oh, it's going to be fun. She's real cool and laid back, but they all were so happy that you were there. And the principal, I loved how he interacted with you. I mean, he started speaking like how he was on College Hill board.
Yes, he's on the College Hill Redevelopment Association. I had no idea. So he introduced himself, and he said that he would let his colleagues know that I was there. So it's like, you know what, that was nothing but God, because God will put people in your path or order your steps so that you can meet people to support you and to help meet your goals or help you fulfill His purpose for your life. So that was amazing.
Yeah, so your name just got out there some more.
Right. And I shared some more of the pictures on Facebook today. So that was good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I kind of want to go back to and talk about and discuss the Prince Hall Mason and NAACP candidate forum on Monday. That was so interesting.
That was wonderful. I'm just glad that me and my children two of my children got to be a part of that.
And you know what, LaMonica, what I appreciate is how you bring your daughters along and how you make them a part of your world where they're seeing these things take place. I never had an opportunity to go to a candidate forum. Even as, a senior in high school, we never got this type of exposure. So the things that they're being exposed to now, it's going to live with them, throughout their entire life. And so it's
gosh,
going
yes.
to, hopefully it'll trigger something and let them know, I need to be involved in politics. This is where it's at. This is important.
Yes, because of course, once again, my 16-year-old is into politics, and she's the president of MIG Politics. I keep getting kind of confused a little bit. MIG Politics is what it is, and she's not supposed to be the president unless you're a senior. But there was no one who understood the Constitution and all the rights of whatever's going on in the politics aspect more than my daughter. My daughter can recite all of that back in her sleep. So they were just like, oh my God, she has to be. So for the next 2 years, this year and next year, she's the president of MIG Politics. She runs it. She comes up with the ideas, and she talks about this type of stuff. And you will be a discussion. She said you'll be a part of that. They're going to talk about the race of the up and coming electoral candidates. So you'll be a topic for that.
Nice.
It's just awesome, and it's like they're going to be grown one day, so they have to know. I don't care how. It's just always been something to me, because when I was younger, I was into politics, but not as much as my daughters are. I just always kept my eye on things, and the way the world is going, we have to know. I cannot shelter my kids from today's society, from the world problems and the world issues, because one day they have to grasp this, and they have to know where it's going to lead us. And kids are so smart.
Yes, they are.
That if you teach them now, the skies they're gonna go extremely far. It's just I get like, oh my God, I can't wait. But yes, they are into politics. That's why every time they see something on TV, like my 4-year-old, she'll be like, oh my God, Donald Trump. Boo. It's just my political aspect, Mom. I'm like, huh? Where do you get that word from? She's like, I learned it from my sister. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But yeah, they, I take them around everything, because they need to see it up front. I don't want no one else to teach them the wrong thing, may it be religion or whatever. They go to a Catholic school, but we're not Catholic, so I find it very good for them to understand the Christian Bible and to understand what a King James Version Bible and the Catholic way.
Right.
And then I also have friends who are Jews or Islam, and they get to see all of that, so they can make their own decisions and their determination on how or what direction in life they want to go.
Right.
It's just, to me, if they know what's going on and where to go, they won't be as lost as we kind of are.
That's right. You know what? This whole discussion is just resonating with my spirit. Let me tell you why. For multiple reasons. Because, for one, I grew up in a Jehovah's Witness household where they don't engage in politics at all. And I think I was in junior high school right after, ending my 8th grade year, when I kind of made the decision, an executive decision at 15 years old, that I was not going to be a part of the Jehovah's Witness organization. I didn't want to go to the Kingdom Hall. And I'm like, Mom, I think I'm at a point now where I can make my own decision. And she allowed us to make the decisions because she didn't want to keep us in bondage and keep us or shelter us so much that we were not allowed to make our own mistakes. And so I think that, just thinking back to that moment, when I remember we lived in Madisonville, and there was a path behind our garage where we could walk down and go down to the Kingdom Hall. And my mother would leave out of the front door and walk around, and we would go down the path. And so one day my sister and I just decided to stay behind the garage, and then we went back in the house like, we're not going. And so I think that that's where I kind of put my foot down. But that was, at that point, at that very moment, I made my decision that God wants me to do something else with my life, and politics is what He wants me to do. I think I shared with you the experience that I had where, I'm a gun violence survivor, and I told God that I wasn't ready to die because I know He had more work for me to do. And Lamonica, in my spirit, I know that this is the work that He has for me to do. And so just this discussion about religion and politics is like, okay, you know what, I just had an epiphany. This is why that happened. But you also mentioned how you're not Catholic, but your daughter goes to a Catholic school. You're Christian, and I had a conversation today with JRAB, which is an organization that helps low-income families who live in metropolitan housing
Mhm.
start businesses and deal with issues within metropolitan to be empowering to the low-income population. I had a conversation with Mr. Nasheed, who was actually Muslim, and there were Christians in the room, and I shared how, I've taken the Shahada, so I believe
Mhm.
and respect Muslim.
Mhm.
I'm a Christian, I'm a member of New Prospect, and so at the end of the day, you have to be willing to accept and believe, respect. If you don't accept every one of their beliefs, you have to be willing to be respectful, mindful and respectful of other religions. So, I respect the Muslim culture. I respect Christians, and some of my most influential friends and supportive friends are Jewish. So, when you're in a political arena, basically you are not the politician or the city council member for the Christians or the council member for the Muslims. So you have to be respectful of all people from all walks of life and all faiths. And so this conversation is like, okay, it's kind of like an epiphany for me, but very interesting. So I'm so happy that you're not sheltering your daughters and you're giving them an opportunity to just see what is really going on in society. And I'm telling you, you never know. One of your daughters may be the next female. I think before they are adults, there will be an African American female president.
Yes.
But I think that they have the potential to be the president, be whatever they want to be.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I don't want to shelter them because I don't want them to be like, oh, my mom.
Right.
I don't want them to know that in life you have to be forced to do something.
Right.
You don't have to be forced, but you can have the knowledge about different things, or if you have the knowledge about any and everything, maybe the constitutional rights, about different faiths, then you will know how to respect other cultures, other religions, whatever it is in this world. So I don't want them to one day, I'm like, come on, we're going to church.
Right.
If my kids wake up on a Sunday and I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to church, if they feel like, well, I really don't want to go to church right now, and even though they're all our minors, all right, well, you guys can just be in the house, clean up, and whatever it is you want to listen to, just at least play some gospel, listen to just something of whatever of your choice that will, help you get through the day. And then when I come home, we can talk about whatever it is you guys went through. It can be politics, it can be any type of religion. Just let me know what it is. And I'll go to church and I'll come back, but I'm not forcing them like it was as we were kids to, oh, you're going to church because we're going to church. I don't want them to have that type of like, well, when I get older, which a lot of people do once they get older, I'm not going to church. I was burnt out on church. Maybe whatever religion. I don't want to go to church. I was burnt out, so I don't want my kids to feel like that. I want them to be comfortable because they have their own beliefs.
That's right.
And just because they're kids, I can't force them to have a belief.
That's right.
They as long as I educate them, they can make up their own mind. Like, Mom, I really don't appreciate going to this place because of this reason. Okay, let me know why.
Right. And you know what? That's what I love and respect about you, because you're open-minded, and I mean, I can tell that you're firm, but you're fair.
Yes.
And you allow them to get centered. A lot of times we need to be spiritually centered, emotionally centered, mentally centered, and you allow them to get centered and kind of give you reason as to why this or that. So give them time to think, and that's what I can appreciate about parents such as yourself. So I mean, that's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. And even as adults, we get off center sometimes, especially when we get overwhelmed. We're just kind of all over the place. And even me personally, in my political aspirations, I've had to get centered spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and just figure out where I fit in and to kind of put all the pieces together. And so some of the feedback that I've received lately has just been really empowering, because people said that they would hear me complain about a lot what was going on out here, but they never heard me say solutions. So after Monday, after the NAACP candidate forum, they were like, you know what you're talking about. You have solutions. And I'm like, yes, you're not supposed to just give all the goods away all at once, but at the same time, you're supposed to lay the issues out here, talk about what's wrong, and then you can talk about how you're going to fix it.
But you knew when to bring it up.
Exactly.
You fed us what we needed to know, but then you gave us the solutions at the end. And what was so nice about that candidate forum was
Uh-huh.
at the end how everybody was just like, ah! I mean, the whole time people were in there like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
is he or she for real?
Right.
Nah. But then when you got up there and you were just talking and it's just like, I was like, are we at a club? Are we, what? Oh my God, we are at a football game or something. Because, I mean, you just had everybody, like, people were on, you were the only candidate who had
That
people.
reaction.
I mean, you had people who were sitting down, standing up, like the Bengals done won, or going to, you know,
I miss that. I miss people
something.
standing up. I just remember hearing people say stuff, and I'm just like, I remember like the very end of what I said, like vote Kelli Prather for Cincinnati City Council, and then I went back and I sat down, and I think that I was just authentic. That I was real and relatable, and people want someone who's real and relatable, And I think that I was able to connect the dots. I think you mentioned connecting the dots or putting the pieces of your life together. It's about connecting the dots and bringing forth real solutions.
Yes.
And not allowing yourself to be a puppet. I refuse to be a puppet.
Yes, and when you say that, it's kind of, because as you know, my children were there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard her, but my 4-year-old, I had to stop a couple times and look over at her because she was laughing like, ah, and clapping. And I'm like, oh my goodness, do you know exactly? She's like, yeah, they fake. I'm like, oh, you cannot. She's like, it's the truth. And I'm like, wow. And then the guy sitting next to me was just like, she is absolutely correct. I'm like, get out of here.
Baby, I'm telling you.
Out of the mouth babes.
Yes.
So it's like, wow. And they were so into it, even at times where I thought my 4-year-old wasn't really, because she was kind of moving back and forth. She'll just stop and be like, I wonder how true that is. I'm like, right. Oh my gosh. But it's wonderful how they seen it. And then like, when you were speaking, I stepped out, of course, and my kids were just like, oh my goodness, and they ran over there, and my 9-year-old was like, oh my gosh, Mom, she is great.
Oh,
and
that was sweet.
Another guy, I guess he's running for something else, said something, and she was like, yes, I'm all for her. I was like, oh. And he asked her, why are you for her? She said, because she's a realist. And and when we were leaving out, he had came out he said something like bye. And then when we were walking down, he ran out there and he had a book bag and a little hat, and he was just like, are these your children? It's like, yes, sir. Why? What did they do? He was like, none, they are smart. He said, just watching them interact. He said, I saw him in there earlier. I saw him a couple times walking out to the restroom, get water or something. And then just now, just having them stand out here at the door and just watching them engage until, I want to say it was Miss Kelli Prather. I was like, yeah, it was her. And they were just like insightful and happy. And another guy, I want to say his name started with the F.
Was he running for council as well?
He wasn't, you know what? I don't know. I don't want to lie. So, but he did have on a shirt with his name on it or something like that. But he had stated something to them, and he said, I just watched how they interact. He said, they were very intelligent. He said, I think we have some type of maybe future politicians.
Yeah.
I said, well, I have one that's not here. But he was like, well, you might have a house full.
Right.
I said, Lord, yes.
That would be a beautiful thing. I mean, because they could be the change that we need to see, period. And I've shared this with you before. When I attended the Democratic National Convention, they literally had busloads of young white kids coming into the DNC. And, what that showed me is that they're grooming their youth to move into these positions. And we need, as a culture, we need to get into the habit of doing that too. And, that was a really, really good experience. I know that there was some other candidates, some good candidates there. But the thing I said, and I meant this from my core, is that what a person has done while they're in a seat and what they've done in their past is a clear indication of what they're going to do moving forward. LaMonica, we have all these racial disparities. People who have had an opportunity to do something about it, if they have not done anything about it, they're not going to do anything about it.
And that was a big topic that a lot of the candidates on the forum, well, not a lot, but the ones that you can tell is really strong and believe in at least attempting to do what they're saying. If not, just because I see you, and a lot of people, not just me, see you out here going live all the time and talking to people and getting people's ideas and views. Not saying that the other candidates aren't, because they don't do what you do.
Right.
They don't let the world see them do it. So all we have is their word, or someone said, hey, we saw it. But you let the world see it. They were pretty, like Ozzie Davis, you know, he was like, hey, if you're not out here doing anything, don't vote for them. If you don't see them doing anything, don't vote for them. Just like when, you know, Regina Carswell and Lincoln Ware had asked, you know, who is your top 5? Who would be your 5 strongest to be with you? And it's just weird because people who were saying things, there was like 2 candidates who had weak people. And I think the weak people were, my opinion was, I say they're weak because they have a lot of top name people under their belt who's, you know, this and that. But then a lot of people had a bunch of the same names, which were strong people who get out here and who get into the community and who really care for us, who show up to things. And just like a couple of people in the audience, I don't know if you heard, was just like, you've never been arrested for Black Lives Matter. Oh, how dare you say that when, how you gonna say, I'm not black, so I really can't say because, you know, I had a good life. But let me tell you, you know, my dad was the first one in his family to go to college, and so, you know, that's why we were privileged. But you can't relate.
You know, and that's the problem. We have people out here who are dictating when they can't even relate to our situation. If you're privileged, you can't tell me what it feels like to worry about whether or not you're going to go home and your gas and electric is cut off.
But she said they can feel it because they're parent or something was?
Right, their parent. No, you can't. Right, you have to. And, you know, and I thank God for my experience. I thank God that, you know, He gave me enough strength to be transparent and open and honest about my current situation. The fact that I am, you know, I could be homeless tomorrow. I'm in the center of a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, not because I wanted to be in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. It's just because of the systemic injustices here in Cincinnati. I can't get a contract. You know what? They're talking all this stuff about this inclusion, but me as a professional Black woman with 5 college degrees, with a Medicare certified home health agency, as a licensed professional who did the same thing in another state, consecutively for 3 good strong years. I come to Cincinnati, they say that they have professional contract for prime contracts for professional services. I'm here. Where are they? It's not like I have not interacted with the Department of Economic Inclusion. It's just it's a myth. And so I was happy that I was able to see like the WBE, the MBE reports, and I have the numbers, so I have data to confirm. And I think the reason I was able to grasp the attention of people is because I was real, I was authentic, I was transparent, and I'm like, you know what?
It showed you cared.
It showed I cared, and I understand, I can relate because this is my experience. When I look at you, I see a reflection of myself. When you start talking about your struggles, I'm like, girl, really? Because that's my experience too. So, you know, and like I said, the face of homelessness and poverty, it does not look the same as it did before.
You can't appreciate anything if you haven't been down there. Or walked along with someone that's been there. But just because here in Hamilton County, which is sad, because listening one day to the Ricky Smiley morning show, how they do these phone calls and things like that, and they say, well, it is sad that Hamilton County, for us to be a small city, that we have the toughest laws and we can't do anything, we can't get by. So why are you guys making us struggle and making it hard to where we want to be great? We have so many great people here that have no problem with working, but it's always something here that's holding us down, that won't give people second chances. What we so-called have these second chance programs, but these second chance programs are like limited. If you're not like a big time felony, you can't get that off. So if you have like a little misdemeanor or something, you can't get that second chance expungement. But it's like, all right, well, this guy has like 10 felonies and he got his stuff expunged, but this person has like 3 misdemeanors, and just because they have 3, they can't get it expunged.
And I think it's that, you know, when you think about that, I think it's I know you've heard that it's not what you know, it's who you know. I think if you had certain people in positions, you could get anything you need expunged and taken care of.
Absolutely.
What I'm learning in politics is, especially as it relates to the Republican Party, they have a way of making things go away. Where with the Democratic Party and Democratic candidates, especially black women, oh no, this is going to stick. You know, we want this to stick on you. You have to deal with this. You figure this happened, but it's just totally different. And like I said, it's based on not what you know or not your credentials, but who you know and who you're connected with. And the one interesting thing, and I don't want to get into talking a lot about the other politicians, but, you know, I told you that I attended the Eastside Tea Party candidate forum, which was good because they made me feel welcome, and they were like, okay, well, we're glad you're willing to meet us at the table. And that's good. You need to have people on both parties, because at the end of the day, we're going to have a Republican Party, we're going to have a Democratic Party. But you have to have people in those spaces who are going to be true to who they are. I can't be in the Eastside Party and say, oh, I'm not a social justice or civil rights activist, but then come over to the NAACP forum and say, oh, fight the power.
Right.
You know, and we had a candidate who was Pastor X in one setting, but then in the other setting he was a meek, mild-mannered black man who's willing to do whatever to appease this group. And what I found out is that this individual has been supported for the past 3 years by another politician who's in charge of those contracts. He's in charge of those contracts. He's been supported by him for the past 3 years, and so now they're trying to move him into a council member who is term limited out, so that they can continue the money trail, keep the money trail. And I found that out, and that was in a separate discussion. So I thought that was really, really interesting. And I'm happy that we have this talk show and I'm able to disclose that information. So people need to know that just because they have your back, just because they're black, they don't have your back.
No.
And just because they're white does not mean that they're right. We have to judge a person based on what we see them do from setting to setting, and who we see them interact with and who they support. So I'm happy you brought up Ozzie Davis. Ozzie is really strong, and I want to support him because he's the same all the time. But we got some candidates who, again, like I said, just because they're black does not mean that they have our back, and just because they're white does not mean that they're right. So we've just been talking. We're down to a couple minutes. So I guess I just want to talk about some of the things that are going on. Are you going to the black-owned reunion, black-owned party?
I am trying to get there. I know there's a couple of things that we have to do as a family, but I'm really trying to get there. My daughter's just like, oh, I'm open if you need to go. We don't have to stay all day. I'm like, okay. But yeah, hopefully you will see me there.
I would love to go to the reunion, to the Black-Owned 6 reunion with you. The Black and White party tomorrow at
that's at
Park Place.
7, right?
Yes, at Park Place. So that would be fun. But we got to get out, just relax, just be out, and so people can see us, and then we can get the word out about our show. We need to do some things to get our show, the name out, and just tell people who we are. But I'm excited. I'm hoping people are still taking a look at my website, kellyforthepeople.com, and checking me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So we are wrapping up. So how do you want to take us out?
Oh, well, you can find me as well on LaMonica Duckworth on Facebook, LaMonica Miss N on WordPress and Instagram, and LaMonica Miss N Duckworth on Twitter. But want to say thank you for tuning in to Mrs. Kelli Prather's show, Catching Up with Kelli. We greatly appreciate you guys taking this time, and you guys have a great afternoon or evening.
God bless and goodbye.